Digital IDs. Sounds futuristic, right? Like something straight out of Minority Report, but with fewer personalized ads, or maybe more. Governments are increasingly pushing for these digital passports to our lives. Supporters claim they streamline bureaucracy and revolutionize healthcare. But some folks, they're seeing red flags, flashing neon signs, and maybe even a shadowy figure in a trench coat. It's a conspiracy theorist's dream, or nightmare. Think about it. All your information, your identity, loaded onto a chip smaller than a dime. Convenient? Sure. But is it a bit convenient? That's the $1 million or maybe $1 billion considering the potential profits question. Are digital IDs the key to a more efficient future, or are they the first step towards a dystopian nightmare where Big Brother knows your blood type and your favorite brand of toothpaste? Buckle up, because things are about to get weird. This ain't your grandma's debate about social security numbers, folks. This is about the future of identity, privacy, and maybe even the human race. Okay, that last one might be a dramatic, but you get the point. Stay tuned. Okay, let's start with the sunny side of the street. The digital ID evangelists, the ones who see a world where lines at the DMV are a distant, horrifying memory. Their argument? Digital IDs are basically the Swiss Army knife of the 21st century. Need to prove you're old enough to buy a six-pack? Flash that digital ID. Want to vote without leaving your couch? Digital ID does that. Filing your taxes? Boom, digital ID. It's like having a magic wand that whispers, bureaucracy be gone. And then there's healthcare. Imagine a world where your entire medical history is accessible with a tap. No more carrying around those flimsy paper records or trying to remember what allergies you had as a kid. Digital IDs could mean faster diagnoses, more personalized treatment, and maybe even fewer misdiagnoses. Looking at you, WebMD. It all sounds pretty utopian, right? Like something out of a tech company's promotional video, which, let's be honest, it probably is. But before you rush to sign up for your government-issued microchip, there's a whole other side to this story, and it's not for the faint of heart. Now let's head down the rabbit hole, shall we? To the land of tinfoil hats and whispers about government conspiracies. Because when it comes to digital IDs, the conspiracy theorists are having a field day. Forget Big Brother. We're talking about big data, big tech, and a whole lot of big. What are they going to do with all that information? The concern that digital IDs aren't about convenience, they're about control. Imagine a world where your every move is tracked, where your purchases are analyzed, your online activity scrutinized, and your very thoughts, okay, maybe not your thoughts yet, are cataloged and categorized. Sounds paranoid? Sure. But is it entirely implausible in the age of data breaches, facial recognition software, and targeted advertising that's a little good at knowing what you want before you do? That's the fear fueling the conspiracy narrative, that digital IDs are the key to a surveillance state where privacy is a relic of the past and dissent is met with a swift and silent digital shutdown. Let's talk about health surveillance. On the surface, it sounds great, right? Early detection, personalized medicine, the works. But for some, it's less about health and more about control. Imagine a world where your Fitbit data is shared with insurance companies, your online searches for cough syrup are flagged, and your every sneeze is tracked by the powers that be. In this scenario, digital IDs become a tool for monitoring and controlling populations based on their health status. Think about it. What happens when governments and corporations know exactly who's sick, where they are, and what they're doing about it? Some fear a future where access to services, insurance rates, or even employment could be determined by algorithms analyzing your every health fluctuation. It's a chilling thought, this idea of health becoming a currency controlled by unseen forces. And while it might sound far-fetched, it's a concern that's driving suspicion and resistance towards digital IDs, particularly among those already wary of government overreach. Section 5. The Illuminati, lizard people, and global elites. The cast of the conspiracy narrative. No good conspiracy theory is complete without a shadowy cabal pulling the strings, right? And the digital ID saga doesn't disappoint. Enter the global elites, those shadowy figures who allegedly control everything from the stock market to, you guessed it, the implementation of digital IDs. Who are these shadowy figures? Well, that depends on who you ask. Some point to billionaire philanthropists, powerful tech CEOs, or shadowy organizations like the World Economic Forum. They see a coordinated effort to usher in a new world order where individual liberties are crushed under the boot of a one-world government. Now, it's important to note that these claims are often based on speculation, conjecture, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned paranoia. But the point is, the fear is real. People are looking for someone to blame for the rapid technological changes and the perceived erosion of privacy, and in the absence of clear explanations and transparent governance, well, that's when the conspiracy theories start to flourish. Section 6. I'm a free man. How fear of control impacts real-world choices. Here's the thing about conspiracy theories: they don't exist in a vacuum. They impact real-world decisions, shape public opinion, and can even influence government policies, for better or, let's be honest, often for worse. The fear surrounding digital IDs and health surveillance is already having tangible consequences. Some people are refusing to participate in government programs, opting out of digital services, or even going off the grid entirely. They're worried about data breaches, identity theft, or simply the unsettling feeling of being constantly watched. Now, you might be thinking, those are just a bunch of paranoid people overreacting, and maybe you're right. But here's the rub. Even if these fears are unfounded, they still erode trust. And without trust, it's incredibly difficult to implement any new technology, especially one as potentially invasive as a digital ID. So, what's the solution? How do we balance the potential benefits of these technologies with the very real concerns about privacy and control? Well, it starts with transparency, accountability, and maybe a little less secrecy from the folks in charge. Digital IDs, a necessary evil, the tightrope walk between convenience and control. We're at a crossroads. Convenience, efficiency, and futuristic perks versus government overreach and corporate surveillance. The question is, how do we implement them responsibly? Ensure these systems empower, not control. It's a tightrope walk. Be wary of potential abuse, but don't let fear paralyze us. This is about the future of technology and governance. Do we want a dystopian surveillance state, or a future where technology serves humanity? Section 8. Trust me, I'm the government. Why transparency is crucial and often missing. Let's be honest, governments don't exactly have the best track record when it comes to transparency. And that's a problem, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as digital identity. We're essentially being asked to hand over the keys to our digital lives, and we deserve to know exactly who's driving and where we're going. We need clear, concise, and accessible information about how these systems work, who has access to our data, and what safeguards are in place to prevent abuse. And we need it yesterday. But transparency isn't just about providing information, it's about building trust. It's about acknowledging the very real concerns people have and engaging with them in a meaningful way. It's about admitting that, yeah, maybe the government doesn't always get it right. Shocking, I know. If governments want people to embrace digital IDs, they need to be upfront about the risks, address the concerns, and involve the public in the decision-making process. Because without trust, any attempt to implement these technologies is doomed to fail. Big tech is watching. The role of tech giants in the digital ID debate. These companies know more about you than your own mother. They're building the infrastructure and developing the algorithms. Some position themselves as champions of privacy and security. But remember, they've made billions off our data. It's healthy to be skeptical. We need to scrutinize their role in the digital ID debate, demand better regulations and ethical data practices. Section 10. Striking a balance. Can we have our privacy and eat our cake and have it delivered with a digital ID? So where do we go from here? How do we navigate this digital minefield and emerge on the other side with our privacy intact and our cake duly delivered? It's a tough question, but one worth grappling with. It's about finding that sweet spot between innovation and protection, between convenience and control. It's about demanding transparency from our governments, accountability from tech companies, and a seat at the table where these decisions are being made. We need to have open and honest conversations about the trade-offs involved, the potential benefits and risks of digital IDs. We need to listen to the concerns of those who are wary, address their fears, and work together to create a future where technology empowers us, not ensnares us. This isn't just about bits and bytes, folks. It's about our fundamental rights, our freedoms, and the kind of world we want to leave for future generations. It's about ensuring that the digital revolution doesn't come at the cost of our humanity. Section 11, the future of identity. To chip or not to chip, that is the question. The future is coming, and it's wearing a digital ID badge. Whether we like it or not, these technologies are here to stay. The question is, what role will we play in shaping their development and implementation? Will we be passive consumers, blindly accepting whatever digital future is handed to us? Or will we be active citizens, demanding transparency, accountability, and a say in how our digital identities are shaped and used? This is a defining moment, folks. The decisions we make today will have far-reaching consequences for ourselves, our children, and the future of society. It's time to get informed, get engaged, and make our voices heard. So, to chip or not to chip? That's a question we all need to answer. But let's make sure we do it with our eyes wide open, our voices loud and clear, and our commitment to a free and equitable digital future unwavering. Because the future is now, and it's up to us to shape it.